with an unparalleled determination to rise on top, in order to accomplish a dream that can only be seen as that, a dream, backed up by people's legacies, lives, and promises, delving into and overcoming strife and carnage with his men, with undying loyalty and a fierce spirit, slowly stacking up achievements and rising from rank to rank in order to achieve his and others' dreams. Qin dynasty's general and aspiring great general under the heavens in the vast lands of China, commander of the He Qin units, Shin. In the era of the warring states of China, where war is a common thing that is at all times happening, where long-term peace is only a fantasy to people, kings greedily conquering lands and people suffering from invasions and massacres, the only hope for temporary peace is the leadership of army commanders, generals and great generals that are the protectors of their lands. Far more than just a military rank, a general is someone who inspires, someone who leads, and someone who people can depend on for making them achieve their dreams. And in the field of war, people of all types achieve such positions and build their legacies their own ways. But the question remains, what truly are generals, and who is worthy of being one? From bandits to commoners, and even nobles, generals come in all types and from all backgrounds. And for today's case, it comes from a mere slave. Shin, the protagonist of such story, is an orphan who grew up as a slave in a small village, along with his childhood friend with whom he fantasizes about one day freeing themselves from their chains and becoming great generals. A dreamlike aspiration that is fueled by the first and biggest loss he can ever suffer. As the last words of the only person he cares about, it becomes much more than just a dream, but a responsibility. As it starts as doing it for the two of them, it soon becomes a necessary task in order to unite the states of China, and leading others, depended on by the very king himself. Just as most of the characters in Kingdom, Shin is based on a real-life person. But unlike Riboku and Osen, who were based on the very well-known Li Mu and Wang Qian, Shin is based on Li Qin, who history didn't do the favor of recording his life, as he is only known to be a very brave general who helped in the invasions of Yan and Chu. Records show different aspects of his relationship with the king, and he isn't known for being a great general. And that is where the brilliance of the author comes in. Choosing a not very popular real person in order to base off his fictional protagonist is a genius move, as he won't be afraid to be historically inaccurate, and gives him the freedom of doing whatever he wants with him. Shin went through his fair amount of losses and experiences that molded him into who he is being a charismatic and brave fighter, who after a lot of training as a kid and getting experience on the battlefield from a very young age, he acquired enough skill set that puts him ahead of most people on the battlefield, resulting in a very talented and a strong soldier. And at a reasonably young age, he learned leadership, both through what he went through and through figures he learned from, acquiring different qualities of a leader along the way, the biggest and most important of which is his determination that I previously mentioned. But unlike a shonen type dream obsessed maniac or a chosen one and child of prophecy, Shin becoming a great general is not something we wish for to happen or dream of, but something that only feels like a matter of time because of the rate of progression and leadership skills he has, and because of the weight it means to him and others around him. Shin drives the story, as the two non-trivial things that the story is inevitably heading towards as its final and biggest points are him finally being promoted to a great general in the process of unifying China along with his king Ase. As big as the story of kingdom may feel, and as it tends to distribute the attention and development to all ends of its cast, Shin stays the central piece that ties them all together, starting with the Shin unit, which he leads. Unlike most units from other armies that are often consistent of trained soldiers or normal villagers, the Shin unit is a home to different people from all different backgrounds. Led by a former slave, their second in command is a girl from an isolated assassin's clan. Their strategist is an orphan kid from the mountain people. Their ranks include farmers, builders, elite soldiers that lost their leaders, people who left their leaders to join them, and so much more. They are all over the place, yet the dynamic between them appears so seamless and they get along very well. And the reason behind that is their captain Shin, with whom each of them have a tie and a reason to follow. From admiration to love, to even being the one who inherited the legacy of their previous generals, most prominently Oki's and Duke Hyo's, who are by far the most important figures in Shin's life after the loss of Hyo. He learned what it means to be a general and how to lead from them, and they saw the potential and skill that he has and entrusted him with their legacies, symbolized by how both of them left him with a gift that represents them and only them, a glaive for offense and a shield for defense, being told to not let his fire die and to go even further, and being shown the view of a general and grasping the meaning behind such position. And just as he went through a path very few extraordinary people are fortunate enough to live by, he is contrasted and opposed by others whose ideals don't align with his. And I for sure am talking about the Bushin. Hoken be his name. Hoken is a literal embodiment of martial might that humanity is capable of, isolating himself and training for all of his life, in order to transcend what is possible for humans, in order to reach further and break the shackles and limits of humanity, to clear a path for salvation from such cycle. The obsessive monk-like ideals of Hoken perfectly contradict those of Oki, Hyo, and Shin. And after he was able to end the life of the former two, it was Shin's role to provide him with an answer that shall end his long path of suffering. A clash of not just glaives and swords, but beliefs and philosophies. Is it the one who shall carry the weight and expectations of those who can't do it by themselves that shall emerge victorious? Or is it the one who abandoned it all in search of what is beyond that? Shin wins, but in the process he temporarily died. And then is where the beauty of the Shin unit becomes apparent. As they circle around their fallen captain, who they all believe is already dead, as they are confused as to what they should do, grief and despair filling them, it's as if this is it for them as well. They reached this far with him, and without him they don't exist. That is the type of unit this is. When the heart falls, so does the body. The only instances of something like this happening was with Oki's death, and Hyo's as well. If Shin had died then and there, the unit would have fallen apart, and probably most of them wouldn't go to war again. Ten and Kyokai would suffer the most loss, and Ase would lose the one and only person he sees as a partner in this impossible quest. They see Shin as their hope, and to follow him until he achieves his dream is the dream of a lot of them as well. They would happily die for him, the last thoughts before death. and when on the brink of death they desire nothing more than being close to him when they pass away. And being between his arms they cannot ask for more, because to them he is the hope they stick to, and his back is like a shield from the misery and tragedy of this life full of wars. If someone like Bihe was a part of the Osen army, for example, he probably would never have met him face to face, and there would be no personal connection between the two, just a general and a soldier. But it's different with people like Oki and Shin, because they really care about their followers, and so the mutual trust and dependency was established between them, from Kyokai's love and To's loyalty, to even small unnamed troops who are readily dying for their commander. Like great generals, Shin doesn't give detailed orders to his companions. He just points them at what is needed, expresses his dependency on them, and leaves the rest to them. It's that level of trust that he has that fuels them in order to meet those expectations, and instead of being followers of orders, they are partners of victory. And to Shin, there is nothing more motivating than that. The small interactions like this, and the big legacies passed down to him, from allies and even from enemies. Mangoku's curse that was passed to him, Rinko's light, Shugaryu's realization, and more. Chosa, Kyogai, and Bito's sacrifice, and the lifelong promise with Hyo. His character, confidence, discipline, physical strength, skills, continuous learning, military and professional bearing, leadership by example, and commitment. These qualities and so much more is the recipe of Kingdom's protagonist, and the soon to become a great general, sharing the view of greats. A general's view is that of the faces of his enemies, of his allies, the sky and earth, or in Kingdom's terms, of the heavens. The tide that follows the hoofs of his mount is a force of life that he directs with his words and orders, its impact being powerful and lethal. How and where to direct it is in his control and is his responsibility, that he should never abandon, just like his beliefs and his people. That is the worth of a general and the view of a great one. That is what Shin of the Heishin unit embodies and what he represents. Many thanks for watching.